Hello, friends.
Hi.
It is me, Flip,
And me, Ange.
and we are back with another episode of Crushed and Pressed.
Oh,
Yay!
who would have thought?
I know. Look, both Ange and I made it this week.
Y'all, we did it. Is this the first one of the new year where we're both actually here doing the
I
thing?
think so.
Besides, I was going to say Hunter Killers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the first real episode where we're both.
We're smart. We did it. We're cool.
Look at
Y'all,
us go.
we started this during a pandemic. We're doing our best.
We are. And look, we started this during a pandemic, and we're coming up on our year anniversary of us doing this, and it's wild.
I know. Look, because somebody in the Girls Love Travel group was asking about Bloody Marys and where you can get them with all the fancy toppings. And I was like, hold on, I have a photo. Oh God, from February of 2019 or 2020, right before the pandemic. Well, we went and got brunch, and the most beautiful Bloody Mary I've ever had at Grind Gastropub. Oh, and then a month later, shit shut down.
Yeah. And then, and here we are.
Yeah.
Still kind of shut down, but, living our best lives.
We're here. We're doing it.
Oh, my goodness. So, Ange, how has the last couple of days been for you?
Now, see here. This is the second time I was cast in Around the World in 80 Days. The first one was an audio drama through Audion, and I had been asked to play the female part. And we were doing Shakespeare Abridged, and I was stage managing, and they wanted to record on a show day. So I said, no, thank you. I can't do that. So then John asked me to do it this time, and I went last Friday for a read through. And as he pulled up, I said, hey, John, guess what? I can't do this show because it runs for one weekend. And we have tickets to this beer, bourbon, and whatever festival. And we're supposed to be at a chef's table, and we're getting a hotel room, and it's a whole big thing. Today, Trevor got an email that the festival's been moved to June. And I already gave the part away. So now I must stage manage this shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's that. That's basically been the last few days.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
It's been interesting. Now, Friday night, we, of course, had our show at the bar, which that was a whole situation. Our equipment stopped working mid-show, and it's just... So we had to cut our show early, and then Saturday, what did we... Saturday, we went out with a friend. We went out with Cassidy for a little bit, and then Sunday, we went to brunch. And she come on for brunch one weekend.
I need to figure that out. Man, my Sundays are so whack now. But yes, I would love to.
And then we all went and got tattoos.
You dorks. I love it.
It was a spur of the moment thing, but I now have uwu tattooed on my hand.
You do. You do.
And every once in a while I look down at it and I go, oh, so this really happened.
Yep.
And Joey has yikes tattooed on his hand. And Cassidy, she really got the short end of the stick because her hand says, am daddy.
No. Oh. Yikes.
Yeah, her hand says, am daddy. But
that's so funny.
That's where we're at now.
Oh, y'all made a decision, and that's real cute.
And that was the decision.
Look, it's not that bad.
No, you know what? Mine is not bad at all. This doesn't, this really doesn't bother me too much. It's funny.
It's seagulls.
Yeah.
They're flying.
It's funny. It looks like a little, cartoon character face. So, that's cool.
That's what uwu.
Yes, I know that's what uwu is. So, it's fine. Not a fever dream. Not a fever dream. Actually got this tattooed on my hand, you guys.
It wasn't just a little Sharpie doodle. No.
And everybody that I sent a picture to thought it was a Sharpie doodle, and then I was like, no, you guys, it definitely isn't. This is really actually tattooed on my hand.
Oh God. Yeah, Marcy in the comments. Marcy, when are we gonna go do some dumb shit?
Yeah, come
Let's
on.
get this crop tattooed like teardrops. Let's just
don't do
it.
that. Don't do that.
That's why I was saying it could have been worse.
Not
could
the
have gotten
face. Yeah, not the
full
face.
chest piece.
No, just the hand, not the face. We don't tattoo faces.
Oh my God. Look, speaking of Marcy being in here. So she just told me that her mom has the best suggestions. Her mom says that I should start a business where I offer to get refunds for people who don't think that they should be getting a refund or whatever. And I get paid to do this because I got no shame. And I'll return things years after they've needed to be returned, or to stores that they didn't get purchased from or whatever. And yeah, I'll make that happen for you. So if you guys need anything returned, I'll just half of the return money I'll keep. Hers. So just let me know. I'll bring it in. I'll return anything to Walmart.
Yeah. Walmart will also probably take anything.
Pretty much. Look, I returned a bread maker that I bought on like a yard sale page, and I didn't use it for 4 years, and I still had the box. So I brought that shit back to Walmart, and I got full money back.
Insane. Mm-hmm. Walmart really does take anything ever possible back into the store. I have returned opened makeup to Walmart. They will take it back. Opened and used and tested, they will take it back.
Yeah, and they have a big old sign that says, "We will not take clothing back without tags." That's a lie.
They will take it back.
Yeah, they will.
I actually brought them clothing back one time, and the tag was not attached to it. I had all the tags separately because I had already tried the items on, and I was like, oh, this isn't bad. And then I was like, nah, you know what? I don't want it. But I'd already taken the tags off, and I brought them back and just gave them like a bag of tags and like the clothes, and they took them. So, I mean,
we'll just scan these.
Walmart is just a weird place, you guys. They really just don't want to argue with you, and that's fine.
No. Yeah. And you know what? If you don't have a receipt, that's fine. They'll do it on my ID. And after like 4, they'll be like, you really can't do this anymore. And I'll say, that's fine. And I'll wait a year, and then I'll do it again.
And then you'll do it again. Yeah. See, they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
They're confused. Walmart. Basically, what Ange and I just told you is, fuck big corporation.
Yes. I'm not saying steal, but like get around those loopholes, guys.
Yeah, there's always a way around it.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you drinking, Ange?
Water. I bought 3 beautiful bottles of wine, but here's the thing. I messaged y'all to be like, hey, are we doing this? Because guys, we have Slack now, and I'm old and dumb, and I'm barely figuring out Slack. And then I sent messages through Slack, and no one was seeing them, so I figured I did something wrong. So I went back to Facebook Messenger and was like, are we doing this? And then I laid down and took a night nap.
A night nap.
Yeah. Oh. So water.
Okay. I have pumpkin chai tea with whiskey in it. Again, this is part of my ongoing, well, actually it's bourbon, but it's part of my ongoing quest to try to prove to everyone that whiskey and bourbon can literally be put in anything.
Tea? Chai tea? Yeah.
Chai tea.
That seems right.
Coffee. Anything. Yeah. Coke.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Why not?
You name it, I'll try it. I'll try anything once.
Yeah, that's I just like we're doing sound check. Joey sits down and goes, is this tea? Is there liquor in it? It's like, yes. Are we about the podcast?
Chai tea with whiskey or bourbon is actually really good. If you guys haven't tried it, go ahead and try it. It is fantastic. I'm telling you.
Any favorite whiskey or bourbon? Because I'm not a drinker of either of those. So I don't even know. So
we have Jim Beam, and it's pretty good with that. Jack Daniels is good if you lighten up on the sugar, because Jack Daniels is already kind of on the Swedish side. If you lighten up on the sugar, it's pretty good. When I was in college, I might have tried it with Bullet, which that's fine. I don't really discriminate against whiskey.
Well, yeah, I would say that was us with vodka. I went it was a liquor store the other day, and I'm like, there was this Texas vodka that I bought one time, and it was I think in Palm Coast at the liquor store. And I walked in, and it's really pretty and this nice little clear with a good shape. And it's, I believe, called Lone Star vodka, and it's from Texas, but it's called Lone Star. And so I asked the guy, I go, do you have, it's like a Texas vodka? And he goes, we have Tito's. And I'm like, oh, fuck right off. No,
that's
like $2 for a gallon of it. We used to put that through Brita filters. That's not what I want. But it's from Texas. No,
it's not the same.
That's not for my martini. What are you talking about?
You've got to go to Total Wine or something, and they probably have it there.
Yes. I was so mad. I'm like, no, I just got all these Chilean vegetables in vinegar, and I want to put the little onions and pickles and stuff in my Texas vodka and call it a day.
In your martini. It's a thing.
Y'all, I don't drink sweet things, apparently.
Okay.
It's all sour and salty.
Okay.
Like my soul.
Just like a think about salty drinks for a minute. Salty drinks. My favorite.
Salty. Salty. They're so good.
Okay.
Yeah,
we have a buffalo chicken soda in the fridge. Want it?
That's weird as hell.
It is weird as hell.
Why?
It is the weirdest thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Mix that with something.
I don't know, but we bought it and just for shits and giggles.
Because couldn't you put that in like is it a michelado? One of those?
Yeah, I guess.
That would be a good flavor. But I gotta put it with something. I don't think I could just drink that straight.
You might be able to make a pretty decent Bloody Mary with a little splash of that in there.
It's got hot sauce flavor.
Yeah,
right?
It definitely has hot. My roommate is now choking on it.
Honey, I'm sorry.
It definitely just gets worse. The hot sauce flavor really just creeps in there on you.
What if you shotgunned it?
It's in a glass bottle, so I don't.
Oh no, you can't do
unless
that.
Unless we're drilling a hole in it. Okay.
It's dangerous.
So you guys know that we are into. Is this season 5? Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we are into season 5, which is mysterious / and/or strange deaths and disappearances. John was here with you guys last week before
not last one, but the one before.
Yeah, so week before last, John was here with you guys. John will be taking a little bit of a break from us to deal with some personal / family things. So he won't.
Oh, you mean he's doing what we did?
Yeah, John will be taking a little bit of a break from us to deal with some personal / family things. So he may not be on here as often. So Thursdays will be a little bit of a change, but we'll keep on trucking through the season.
We'll get there.
Yes, wishes to John and his family.
Yes, please.
John. Yes, our number one fan.
John. I know.
So, Ange, you are going to be talking about the Isdal woman.
Yes.
And I am going to be talking about Tate Rowland.
How did you find yours? Like, how did you decide on what the hell you were going to cover?
I'd already kind of heard about this. So, it was just like, I was like, I need to do this.
Okay, my ass Googled mysterious deaths not well known. And then, like, less known mysterious death. Because I was like, all I'm going to get is fucking JonBenet Ramsey.
Yeah.
And I'm not covering JonBenet. But this popped up and I was just like,
well,
I've been here. Okay.
The case that you're talking about is super interesting.
And apparently it's popular. Who knew?
Yeah, like, I mean, I've heard about it. It's super interesting. The case that I'm talking about became popular because Bailey Sarian did make a Murder Mystery Monday about this. But
cool.
It's super strange. So I'm going to kick us off, you guys.
Thank you.
So, and this is your neck of the woods out here. We're going to talk about Tate Rowland. Tate Rowland was a boy from Childress, Texas.
Holy shit. Okay.
17 years old. Tate was well known in the town of Childress. Many people say that he had like a wild streak. The sheriff's office was really well acquainted with him. He was a drinker and he was known to race around town in his pickup, blasting music.
Sounds like Texas shit.
Sounds like Texas. Sounds like a teenager.
Yeah.
Tate had a girlfriend named Karen Hackler. She was described as this cute blonde girl. Her dad was a prominent farmer in the area, and unfortunately, their relationship was kind of rocky. They were constantly fighting. They were constantly chasing after each other, chasing each other up and down the roads in their cars. There was a ton of jealousy and a lot of arguing in their relationship. And we're talking about kids, like kids.
I was going to clarify. I'm like, him and his dad, him and the girlfriend?
Him and his
Jesus,
girlfriend.
that's weird.
Now we're talking about kids.
Ugh. Yeah, there's 17. Jesus.
Ooh, Texas. Yeah, Marcy.
Look at us.
Karen would often try to break up with Tate, but then he would harass her. He would drive to her home. He would spin his tires in the gravel out front of her house, causing this huge like gravel spray all over their house. And of course, her parents would call the authorities, and nothing would ever get done.
Sounds right.
It got to the point that Karen's brother Kevin threatened Tate in order to get him to stop harassing her, and Tate attempted to run him over with his car.
Jesus. That's y'all, here's the thing. If someone's accusing you of being aggressive, maybe don't respond with aggression.
Right. So Tate gets arrested for assaulting Karen. He went to her job after an argument that they had had. He jumped over the counter at the convenience store and attacked her.
Holy crap.
But at the court hearing, of course, Karen and you guys don't know about this cycle of abuse. You get to the court hearing, and Tate tells Karen how sorry he is, and the jurors see them hugging at the court hearing, and they basically just dismiss the entire case.
Fuck.
So Tate's parents are fucking done. They're tired of his bullshit, and his dad, Jimmy Rowland, who's tired of all this fighting and like complaints from Karen's family, he sends Tate to go live with a relative in Louisiana.
Oh.
So in the spring of 1988, while Tate was living with his relative in Louisiana, Karen met another man and married him.
Well, that's quick. Holy crap.
Now, Tate, his family in Louisiana is kind of like, yo, we're fucking sick of this kid. So they send him back to Texas to be with his family, and when he gets to Texas, he finds out about Karen, moving on, and of course he's pissed. But after a while, his family says that he kind of just rebounded and he went back to being his normal self. The only time that he ever really showed any grief or upset over the situation with Karen was if he'd been drinking. So on the night of July 26, 1988, Tate's body was found hanging from an apple tree along a dirt road in Childress. Now, this area is pretty well known to cops. It's basically where all the teens go to just hang out and drink.
Like you do.
Tate's friend, Chad Johnson, is with Tate at the time. And very strangely, I guess, Chad says that Tate, joked about hanging himself on the tree. And it's really, just a weird situation. So
God.
Everybody is completely shocked at this point. He had no signs of depression. He had no signs of being upset. Everybody keeps saying, this issue with Karen really wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't really upset him that much. People move on.
Yeah, anymore, yeah.
1 hour before his death, people saw him at a local supermarket in the parking lot. He made plans with a few of the local women to help coach their softball league. And he told his friends, Bobby Reynolds, that he would split a 12-pack of beer with them later, and drove from the supermarket with Chad. Chad, if Tate is 17, I believe Chad is 15.
Okay.
So Chad alerts Tate's family, his father Jimmy and his stepmom Brenda. His stepmom Brenda recalls that when Chad came to the home, he had no tears, he had no panic, he was super calm, telling his parents that he just watched his friend fucking hang himself. Tate's parents rushed to the tree in this local area, and they found Tate dead, and his dad cut him down from the tree.
Oh, God. That's horrible.
Chad, as I said, he was only 15. He was not very popular, and he was often described as pretty quiet, and he was rather new to the town. He liked hanging out with Tate because they always had a lot of fun. Tate was pretty lively and always had stuff for them to do. So Chad tells the sheriff that he and Tate drove to the area to listen to some music and have a couple of beers. Then Chad says that Tate threw a rope over the limb of the tree and said he was going to kill himself. Chad claims that Tate even told him where the funeral was supposed to be.
What?
Then, when Chad went to go throw beer cans into the bushes, he claims that Tate hung himself.
All this sounds real weird.
Now, it is super weird because another part of Chad's... So, the other part of Chad's story just doesn't make any fucking sense. So the sheriff determines that there are 2 sets of rope burns on Tate's neck. There's one above and below his Adam's apple. So people started to speculate that Tate was actually strangled and then hung up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Chad is, of course, interviewed a second time, and he changes his stories. Now he says that Tate failed to hang himself the first time, and they went back to Tate's house 5 minutes away to get another rope, and then went back to that spot so that Tate could hang himself.
And people weren't Ring cameras in like the 80s, because we could have verified some of this shit, but that sounds like...
But also super fishy. Like, his parents are home. Like, you don't think that my parents would notice. If I'm driving a truck that is as loud as everybody is saying that Tate's truck was, and I pull up in my parents' driveway to go grab a rope from the garage, I think my parents would know.
I would think so.
And they'd probably be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Or at least a neighbor would have heard that truck and been like, God damn, once again, that boy with the damn truck.
Right. So Chad says that the reason why he didn't tell the truth is because he was afraid that he would get in trouble for not helping Tate down. And I mean, I do have questions. My question here is like, if you see your friend hanging themselves, like you go and you throw a beer can away and you come back and he's actually fucking hanging himself, why are you not helping him down?
Yeah. Why haven't you cut that rope?
Why haven't you cut the rope? Why didn't you get him down? So you took because you didn't drive to his parents' house, you ran to his parents' house from the spot. So what? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Like lies. This all sounds like lies and magic. No.
So the sheriff says they have no other evidence to dispute that this was a suicide. This is what we're ruling it as. It is a suicide. Yeah.
I would have instantly ruled this a murder.
So
Jesus.
Things just kind of like get weirder from here. So at the funeral, family members of Tate noticed that there was a woman dressed in black in the back of the room, and she didn't speak to anyone.
Professional mourner.
Then she slipped away before anybody could determine who she was, and it said like a bunch of people saw her, like friends saw her. His aunt vividly recalls saying to his stepmom, like, who is that woman?
Who's
back
that
there?
woman?
I'm gonna go talk to her. And by the time she got up to go talk to her, she was gone.
Oh God. Ugh.
Then there's another young boy who's in the front of the church, like sitting in the pews in the front, and he just starts yelling the words suicide, suicide, suicide over and over again.
Why? What the hell?
Just over and over again. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Just keeps being repeated.
This is shit out of a horror film. This isn't real. Holy crap.
And nobody knows why. He just starts yelling it. He's like visibly getting upset, and eventually like they just like escort him out.
Oh my God.
Then a couple days after the funeral, the sheriff's department gets a tip from the high school students that about a quarter of a mile from where Tate died, a cow skull has been lodged in a tree with different logs and rocks surrounding the base. And of course the sheriffs are like, this is some kind of creepy ass altar. Then there are other incidents reported where officers have seen figures standing by Tate's grave. It's standing by Tate's grave in the cemetery. And when the officers went out to go look at the grave to see what this person was doing, they found the grave covered in spit, and there was a cross that was burning on top of the grave. And a local teacher's dog was stolen and sacrificed and also placed on top of the grave.
No. Okay, you could have left that out. No. That's witchy shit.
Like,
wow.
Weird
That's fucked
shit.
up imaginary witchy shit.
Weird shit is going on in this town.
Mysterious woman, possessed boy yelling suicide, cow skull lodged in a tree.
Burning cross, sacrificed
cross,
animal,
sacrificed.
and spit covering his grave.
For a 17-year-old boy? Honey, what'd you do?
So, a lot of people just believe that they're just kids in town playing pranks. And
for sure, possible.
By the time school started again, rumors were circulating that Tate was in some kind of cult and that he was murdered by cult members. And rumors stated that he was murdered because he would not bring the cult a blue-eyed, blonde-haired child for them to sacrifice. And the rumor elaborated specifically that the child was supposed to be one that belonged to his sister or to his stepsisters.
What? Some high school, I don't know.
Now, even weirder, these rumors get even weirder because now kids are reporting cars driving into the grade school parking lot, and many of the students claim that the people in the vehicles asked them to get inside.
Oh no.
And this is like happening like every day, like multiple cars.
No. So there could be a cult wanting kids.
Of course, nobody is arrested or caught in the act of doing this, but now everybody in the town is like, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
Then Brenda, his stepmom, gets daily phone calls saying that Tate is involved in a cult. And a local farmer said that he witnessed the two boys arrive at the tree and later leave, but they didn't come back.
What? No, but what?
Yeah.
No. Also, Brenda, great name.
A local mother states that she noticed that teens at the park were moving gravel around and they were using the gravel to spell out 666.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then the police department in Lockhart called to say that a young girl had a dream of a boy being hung by a satanic cult, and that her parents were directly involved in the cult. She stated that the cult met at a vacant home that had a red porch light. She said that the house could be located east of Childress in the town of Kirkland. She also claimed that the members had run down and killed a young boy in a vehicle some years prior.
What?
After research, the sheriffs did find a home with a red porch light, but it was burnt to the ground.
Whoa.
They also found a case of a 15-year-old boy who was hit and killed when walking home from his job as a dishwasher.
This is too many weird coinkydinks.
Near Halloween in 1988, the starting lineman for the high school football team took several friends to the cemetery as they heard rumors that the cult was going to dig Tate's body up. They thought it would be fun, but when they got there, they heard music playing and the vehicle's lights turned on, following his truck well into the courthouse.
Stop it. No, that's not real. Really? That's shit that people make up when you go to like graveyards and stuff and you're like, oh my god, I saw the hands on the back of the car.
No. They heard music playing and a vehicle's lights turned on and followed his truck well into town.
Oh.
Then
also real quick, hi Brittany.
So then shortly after that incident, local teen Ray Wilkes was arrested. He had stolen a car and was drunk, and he hit a power pole. During his booking, he told an officer that he was part of a satanic cult and was present when Tate was hung.
Where are all these satanic cults hanging out? Like, for real? Like, because
Later, he recanted his statement, saying that he was way too drunk and he doesn't remember ever saying that.
Great.
And many locals stated that on the back of the Wilkes house, there was the words Devil's Den or Devil's Bin painted on the building. Ray's father, Frank Wilkes, said that it actually said, "I love Letty." That was painted by Ray to impress a girl, but he made Ray cover it up. I don't know about you, but the words Devil's Den doesn't really look like "I love Letty," but I'll let Letty. That one slide.
Yeah, I'm sitting here doing letters in my head going, well.
It seemed that literally everyone in town is being accused of being a cult member, including Karen.
Oh my God, bless her. All she wanted to do was get away from this guy.
Yeah. And they said that Karen had a ton of books about witchcraft in her home and that she actually lured Tate into the.
Holy crap.
Now, here's where shit gets weird. Weirder.
Oh,
let's get weirder.
Now? Okay.
The story about Tate's death and like the cults and everything, it never really like died down. Like everybody was still like trying to figure out like, is this suicide? Was he killed by a cult?
Oh my God.
And then it gets even weirder because his sister Terry dies.
Terry?
And Terry dies in the Devil's Den house.
Fucking hell. No.
Yeah. No. Terry dies in the Devil's Den house. So Terry is an adult at this point. She has 4 daughters. She's going through a separation. And she has a new boyfriend, his 28-year-old Ricky Bradford, who was a close friend of Frank Wilkes' 22-year-old son, Darwin. Both men had been...
his Darwin?
Yes.
Bless him. Bless him.
Both men had been convicted of assault at one time or another. Terry was partying and drinking heavily when she was hanging out with this crowd. On the night of her death, she was drinking with Ricky, Darwin, and a few other people at the Wilkes house. Frank Wilkes was currently incarcerated at the time, so that's dad. He's currently incarcerated at the time, and they say that after drinking twice the legal limit of alcohol, Ricky and Terry went to bed in one of the rooms, but Terry didn't stay in bed. She got up and attempted to move around, but then she collapsed. She was held back into bed by 9:30 in the morning, and Ricky claims at that point she was dead.
Wow.
The autopsy reveals that she choked on her vomit in the middle of the night.
Oh, no.
Now, everybody in town is like, there's no fucking way. They are 100% convinced that her death has to be linked to Tate's in some way. But there's really no evidence to support this. And it was not a secret that Terry did not believe that Tate took his own life. She thought that there was somebody in town who knew something about it.
Yeah, I think so.
So, a few weeks later, Darwin Wilkes attempts to take his own life by taking some pills. And he left a suicide note that said, "I know something that the cops don't know. I know who killed Terry, and I can't live with this anymore."
Oh my God.
He survives.
Write it down.
He survives this suicide attempt. And when he finally recovers, he tells the sheriffs that he doesn't remember writing the note.
Oh, stop it. That's not fair. You can't just do that.
He's like, "Nope, don't remember."
No.
So their family at this point cannot let this shit rest. They're like, "This is ridiculous. Like, 2 of our kids are dead."
Yeah.
So,
because of y'all.
Right. So on July 27th of 1991, Tate's body is exhumed and an autopsy is conducted.
Oh, shit.
A forensic pathologist from Amarillo, Texas, Dr. Veasley, was brought in to investigate his death. He believed that Tate might have been strangled before being hung.
Okay, yeah. 2 lines. 2 lines.
Right. So once the body is exhumed, it's extremely decomposed, and Dr. Veasley is not able to make a conclusive statement. But during the autopsy, they did find a drug in it called Elavil. which is the same drug that Darwin used during his suicide attempt. Then, in October of 1991, Terry's body is exhumed, and an autopsy shows that she passed from asphyxiation, though they found multiple contusions on her inner thighs and inside of her mouth, indicating blunt trauma from an assault.
Shit.
And guess what?
She also had that drug in her system?
Eldil in her system. Dr. Veasley expressed that he believed that somebody held Terry down while somebody else smothered her.
Great.
Now, of course, neither of these deaths have ever been labeled as a murder. There's a lot of speculation here. And I think it gets even kind of weirder. Because there's, like I said, there's all kinds of just like fucked up reports, like people saying that Terry is being killed because she knew too much about the cult, or like she was kind of like digging to find out information and that's why she's been killed. There's even more talk of defaced tombstones, black-robed cult members that are like being sighted in abandoned houses in town. And there's more than one person who reports seeing a man from Childress eating pages from the Bible and foaming at the mouth.
What? Y'all, make this movie.
Like,
this is full of great images. How? Eating pages from the Bible and foaming at the mouth. Eating pages from the Bible and foaming at the mouth.
So, hold on, let me find the other part of this really quick.
While you find that, just real quick, one of the little scripts that I wrote a couple years ago is being used in the next 3x3, and I'm pretty excited about it. I know. That's why I'm like, oh, that's a good image to throw into a script. Right? Man eating pages from a Bible and foaming at the mouth. Delightful.
Hold on a
Delightful. I'll say, Brittany, if you're still watching, you should contact Bethany and see about being in my script. It's good. It's based on a conversation me and Marcy had.
Oh, good.
I know, it's funny. Yeah.
So after they are figuring out all this stuff, and they have this case break open again with Frank and Darwin Wilkes, who came to the sheriff's department to say that Ricky Bradford had admitted at a barbecue at their home that he had killed Terry.
Oh my God.
The Wilkeses alleged that Ricky had threatened to kill them if they snitched, and Darwin said that Ricky had become provoked by the questions about Terry's death. And according to Darwin, Ricky said, "Yes, I killed the bitch," but then threatened to burn down the house and cut out Darwin's eyes if he ever told.
Oh my God. Call the cops on the spot.
Based on that information, the sheriff arrests Ricky for first-degree murder.
Okay, yeah.
Ricky says that he has nothing to do with Terry's death and claims that Darwin set him up.
Mm-hmm.
And by making his statements about Terry's murder, Darwin knew that he could get the $1,000 reward from the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
And then Darwin does admit that he's been worried about the police, and he thought the police were going to arrest him for her death.
Mm-hmm.
He finally submitted to a lie detector test a few weeks before Ricky's arrest and flunked when asked by the examiner if he had smothered Terry. Then Darwin says that the cops are trying to frame him, but he was asleep the whole time, and he wouldn't have had a chance to smother anyone.
But what?
Then, after Ricky is arrested, Darwin takes another polygraph and he passes.
Okay. How? Well, polygraphs aren't the most reliable. It's whatever. Okay.
Right. So, honestly, nobody is really convinced that any of this clears up Terry's death case.
No. It's nice leads to follow, but none of it's concrete,
and
right?
Really, a lot of this has to, is just inconclusive and is based off the fact that they had an inconclusive autopsy and a ton of unreliable witnesses, and they state that they don't really have a strong case against Ricky. Um, so they set Ricky's trial for the summer, and David McCoy says Ricky Bradford is a sorry individual, but I don't want to send him to prison just for being a sorry person.
Oh shit.
Now, of course, because of this case, there was, of course, even more satanic cult sightings in town and rumors about these cults. And for a few days after Ricky's arrest, a white cat with its heart cut out was found on the side of the road in town. Sheriff Bowen and his deputy, of course, went out and took colored photographs of the animal, and they said they don't know what it means, but it's got to mean something.
Oh, no. Oh, that poor cat.
Now, just before Ricky's murder charge goes to the grand jury, David McCoy, who's sheriff, his house is just burned down to the ground.
Oh, shit.
The fire marshal says that the fire was accidental, but David McCoy 100% believes that somebody's out to get him.
Oh, yeah, no, somebody's already threatened to burn down houses, so yeah, probably.
And he still thinks that that's what happened, and he was like, anything can be made to look like an accident. Then, a few weeks after this situation, a middle-aged couple is found in possession of pornographic satanic art.
That's delightful.
In one, a devilish goat's head was drawn over a human body. In another, an outline of Texas was drawn inside an emblem that looked like a pentagram. Also found in their house was a thick metal rod that the McCoys describe as some kind of staff that a priest is supposed to have.
Oh my god. This is some fun shit. This is some fun shit. I don't know.
Publicity like that has, of course, damaged the image in Childress. One woman from a nearby town stopped by the Childress County Courthouse and asked if it was safe to drive down US 83 at night, considering that's where the cult allegedly worshipped. An Amarillo reporter covering the story wouldn't come to Childress without carrying a gun. And the district clerk at the courthouse says that we feel really violated by all this attention. There are kids in Childress doing great things. They're not in cults.
Oh, meanwhile, that one flower shop is just trying to like have a little spring bonanza and like host the parade, and everybody's terrified to go.
Everybody's like, devil worshippers.
We can't go to Childress. They kill people.
Not one person in Childress has ever confessed to being in a cult or anything like that. Sheriff Bowen or the deputy have never been able to find any concrete evidence that a satanic cult has ever actually been in this town. People say that Tate's death could have actually just been a suicide. I don't think so. But
I was like, realistically, he tried once. It didn't work out. He tried again, and it did. But I think he was murdered.
Not with your friend standing there. No. Terry's death, while everybody assumes that it possibly is a murder, they believe that it's more likely just kind of due to like her vices instead of a supernatural one. Nobody will really ever know. There are a lot of people in the town who are still kind of trying to put their lives back together. James Ray Hackler, who is what's-her-face's dad, Karen's dad, blames David McCoy for taking advantage of Tate's death to get a bunch of publicity. The mayor, he blames the mayor for taking advantage of death. He says that we're all a bunch of victims of lies. The Rowlands still don't speak to the Hacklers. And Brenda Rowland says that there must be something else to it, or else none of these rumors would have even started. Rumors don't just start because of nothing.
Okay, but they do, though, with high school students. So they watched The Craft one too many times and just took off.
Well, it's 1988, so...
Oh, yeah. Here's me going, wait, what was around? Was Hocus Pocus even made yet? No. 88. I was 3. No, I don't even know.
It was 1988. I don't know what kind of creepy-ass movie was around back then, but these kids...
Did they Frankenweenie?
Witchcraft.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
That sucks. Okay.
the Bradfords and the Wilkses don't plan on leaving town despite the blight on their reputations.
I would be moving.
Darwin Wilkes has a girlfriend who just gave birth to a baby, or who gave birth to a baby at the time of this article.
Okay, I was gonna say, isn't he like 40?
Yeah, who gave birth to a baby at the time of the article being written. And unfortunately, they said that every time she leaves the house, people make her cry. And they tell her things like, "You're the person who had the devil's baby."
That's so sad. It's not her fault. She doesn't know.
Totally not. Not has nothing to do with what happened in that situation. But Darwin actually left her soon after that incident and remarried his ex-wife. So, guy's just kind of a dick anyway. Frank Wilkes cannot get a job to save his life.
Bless him.
Well. He says that he was out drinking at the VFW with one of his girlfriends, and a lady who the whole town thinks is some kind of high priestess because she's been seen with him. Another person approached them and told her boyfriend had some kind of skin rash, and she wanted to know if they had any kind of magic potions.
Oh my God.
He said that they actually had some fun with that. She went into the bathroom and poured some calamine lotion into a glass and handed it to her. And they kind of try to make fun out of this, but the thing about the medication that was found, the Elavil.
Yes, that was in everybody's systems. Yeah,
that was in everybody's systems. Oddly enough, the sheriff at the time, he ended up getting fired and arrested. He was caught up in some kind of drug ring, and the drug that everybody was using happened to be Elavil.
Oh, the sheriff, you don't say.
Yeah.
Great.
So now, of course, there's still that speculation that, what if, these kids died from this drug and the sheriff is covering it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the least magical option out of all of them.
Right. I mean, that would make sense to me. Like, fucking shit up.
Great. Come here.
But yeah, so that's my story. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Shit's weird to me. Shit is weird to me.
And there's no answer. So right now, the two of what's his name and his sister, Tate and his sister, are both still ruled as accidental and suicide.
Accidental and suicide.
Wow. That's weird. And I've never heard of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is all news to me.
Both accidental and suicide. Very, very strange. There is an article about it in the Texas Monthly from July of 92, if you want to read about it.
I'm sure.
It is all over Reddit if you want to read about it.
Texas Monthly is a great publication.
And it is also on Wikipedia with, kinds of foolishness around there.
Good. Good.
I'm still thinking about the fact that people are like, no, he was definitely sacrificed for this cult.
Yeah. Yeah. That's me. And like the rumors around the high school, he didn't get a young, blonde, blue-eyed girl to sacrifice.
Oddly enough, his sister's kids were blonde hair, blue-eyed.
Ew. I don't like that.
Yeah. So.
Oh God, lots of comments. Hold on one second. Yeah, Brittany, yes. Also, thank you. And thank you. Congratulations on my script getting yes. And I think it's next Thursday. Check Marissa's Facebook. She shared a post, or check Rough Magic Shakespeare Company. There should be a thing about when the next 3x3 is. Also, Flip, you'd be the other good half of that script if you feel like doing it with Brittany. All would be great. Marcy, what the fuck? Our conversation about not going to our high school reunion or going to our high school reunion. And when we watch it, oh my God, I basically took that conversation and just made it into a script. I reference Acapulco's and La Palatera. Like, it's great. Okay. So I was going to say, with the way we are now, all of our social medias are below us.
Yes.
So before we get into my story, check all this.
Yes.
Please.
Please.
If you're on, because I would say, are we live on YouTube right now too?
We are live on YouTube.
Y'all smash that subscribe.
Yeah. Just go.
Please. And then ding that bell so you get notifications.
So you get notifications every time we go live.
Thank you. We need that.
Yes.
But for real, we need that. And if you guys, even if you're watching it live now and this is what you normally do, please go into your podcatchers, you know what they are, and subscribe. And if you can, leave
and
like
review.
5 stars. Yeah. And write a review, even if it's just y'all are great, but please write that review out. So that way we get found,
it
please.
Helps us move on up.
That would be great. Thanks.
Okay, Ange.
Let me chug some water real quick.
My story was far more fun and fantastical than hers is going to be, just so you guys know.
Got some weird shit. Okay.
I've got devil worshippers in my story.
I know. Okay, I sent you the largest assortment of photos possible. Can you pull up the last one I sent you of me in front of those houses? Y'all,
yes.
We're going to Norway. And here's the best part is back in 2018, Marcia and I did go to Norway. And poor Marcy, like right before we went live, I'm like, where are all the pictures from Bergen? Upload them. Get me one of the houses. So we went here, and the place where the spot where this all takes place is in Bergen. It's this little town that's on like a cape, so water, and then there's fjords coming out of it. But there's this little town called Bergen, and there's mountains up in the back that you can climb. We went and did this whole like troll hike, and like just getting to our Airbnb was like a 3-mile hike straight up a hill. So it's beautiful. And there's a like secluded spot up in one of those hills that you need to intentionally hike to. And that's where this body was found and where all of this happens. So that is me standing down waterfront in Bergen, Norway, doing my best to look like a model. Marcy takes lovely pictures and puts me off to the side and gets beautiful backgrounds. I stick her dead center and nothing is out of focus or focused. I'm not a good photographer for Marcy. It's really bad. I'm a dick. I'm learning. We're not quite there. So, thanks, Brittany. Oh, I look great. Okay. The charred body of a woman was found in a remote section of Norway in 1970 at the height of the Cold War. That's where we are. So put yourself in there. 1970, okay. Cold War. An autopsy indicated that she had ingested sleeping pills before she died, inhaled carbon monoxide, and then had been burned alive. Later, we would find all sorts of evidence that, Jesus, this cat's tail, all sorts of evidence that makes you go, excuse me, what the hell just happened here? Who is this?
Things
why is
that
she
make
here?
You go,
Where did this all come from? Lots of things that make you go, So, straight up mandible.
I got it.
The photo she's putting up is the Isdal woman's intricate dental work, which was uncommon for people in Norway at the time. So stable isotope analysis of these teeth, which this is a whole thing that we'll get into how they did all this testing. It suggests that she was born in Nuremberg and then grew up on the border between Germany and France. So not Norwegian. And in the 1970s, they had just started allowing people like tourists and stuff to come into Norway. So you didn't see normally people that were outsiders that didn't live in Norway were there on government business. And so it was very rare to see like tourists, unlike it is now. And this was a woman who was traveling alone. So people really took note when she was like at their shop buying boots, when she was staying at their hotel, because she's traveling by herself. She had like this beautiful dark hair, dark eyes, smelled a little bit like spices or garlic, and was just a magical kind of weird woman that they hadn't seen before. So like it's a trip, but everybody took note of who she was and remembers weird stuff about her.
That's like such an oddly specific thing to recall. Like she smells like garlic.
Garlic. Can you imagine? And that's there was, I think it was the boot shop where she bought her rubber boots, was like she smelled like garlic, and then the hotel owner was like spices, like a spice rack kind of situation. So I'm like, you trying to say like she smelled like Indian food? Like what did she smell like to you exactly?
I don't know. Like when I think
Garlic?
of people smelling like garlic, I just like think of like somebody's got like BO. Like she didn't take a bath or something. Like not like she
Right.
smells like spices.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they all mean, was like she smelled kind of like spices, something exotic, something not Chanel 5.
Not Chanel number 5. Not J'adore
No,
Dior.
not J'adore. So her body was discovered by this, so fucked up, a family that was hiking in the Isdal Valley near the city of Bergen in Western Norway. And it was these 2 little girls and their dad were hiking, and the 2 little girls found her. And they still will not give interviews on the record about what they saw. They just want to be done with it. And they are clearly, they're adults now. This was in the 70s. She was found in a supine position, badly burned in the front, with her hands raised up to her chest in an almost defensive posture. And then scattered around her corpse were personal effects, which included a watch. So I do have another photo of this. It's her jewelry and her possessions. So there was a watch, an umbrella, some jewelry, and several empty bottles. And then, according to the BBC, police thought that the objects had been arranged like around the body in a peculiar way, almost suggesting like a ritual. And this is where shit gets weird. There's a dead body up in the woods, but also it gets weird.
Did we tell you guys that this episode was about ritual killings? No. Was it planned that way? No. She smelled Indian.
Brittany, she smelled Indian, lol. I know.
Oh my god. Okay.
Smells like curry in here. Okay, so the clothes she was wearing were made of synthetic fibers, and they were all missing their tags. And then initially it was thought that she was likely in her 30s. Bless her, that's me. An autopsy revealed that she had ingested between 50 and 70 tablets of phenobarbital and had bruising around her neck. She had also inhaled carbon monoxide and then soot from the fire, indicating that she was burned alive. And then there's no identifying documents and the presence of a large amount of sleeping pills in her system. So Norwegian officials went ahead and ruled her death a suicide. Because you've cut off anything to identify who you are. You went up here, you took a shit ton of drugs, maybe you fell into your fire, and you're dead.
Right.
Seems like a suicide.
I mean, yes, you can, Brittany. Yeah, yes, you can say that. Ingesting barbital.
50 to 70 tablets.
70 tablets. Okay, so like, phenobarbital is like what they give babies. Babies are born like substance exposed, and they have like withdrawals. That's what they give babies to like help them like stop shaking and stuff.
And
50 of them?
50 to 70.
You could probably kill a horse with 50 of them.
Right. That's what I'm like. It was a lot. And like she had 2 little bottles with her. I don't remember if they were plastic or glass or whatever, but the labels had been rubbed off. And then like all of her clothing tags had been cut off. The watch and jewelry, like any labels had been rubbed off. So you couldn't see where they were
to like identify anything.
Yep. So here's Marcy chiming in with, she's a spy.
Oh, who told you could guess at theories, Marcy?
Maybe. So here's the fucked up shit. And Marcy, we were there. This is so great because I'm listening to a podcast all about this, and they're like, a couple days later, the Bergen train station. I'm like, we were at that train station. They found 2 suitcases. And I'm sitting here going, we checked our suitcases there. And now they have lockers that you can lock them in. But at the time, they had a desk. You check in your suitcases, you go about your town, you do your shit, you get your bags when you're ready to go to your hotel. Those bags had been there for 9 days. And her body was found like shortly after she had died, that kind of thing. So clearly she didn't need what was in these bags. There were fingerprints on some of the stuff in the suitcase that matched the dead woman's fingerprints. So they for sure knew that those were hers. Inside, there was an assortment of wigs. and then makeup, clothing, eczema cream, eyeglasses without prescription lenses, maps, and small amounts of money from Norway, the UK, Switzerland, and Belgium.
You didn't jump the gun, Mercy. You're using your awesome deduction skills, and I love that. Those are the skills we need for Hunt a Killer, Marcy.
Rigid brain. Rigid brain.
Rigid brain. Big rigid brain moves.
Inside the lining of the case, this is my favorite. Inside the lining of the case was 100 Deutschmarks. It's so the equivalent of about $1,000 in US standard dollars today. Now, fun fact, my mom sent me and my brother off to Chile to stay with our family down there for a month when I was in 8th grade and Andrew was in 6th grade, and we had money like in our wallets, and then we had money in our checked bags, and she also sewed money into our jeans.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if they took our wallets and they took our bags, we still had money on our person.
Right.
So I'm reading this going, hey, friend, I see you with your hidden money inside the liner of your suitcase. Good job. Ow, hold on. I've got a cat with nails trying to get up here. Okay. After a careful examination of the suitcase contents, it was found that any identifying information had been detached or cut out or rubbed off. Even the eczema cream, which normally would have had like the name of the prescribing doctor or something, label's gone. Everything's rubbed off. So that's fun.
Sus.
So yeah. So we have suitcases. We have a body. We have random shit scattered around the body. We have 2 very traumatized children. This is where we're at.
Brittany says yes, the eczema cream is definitely suspicious.
Always. She had eczema.
Could you imagine going to every fucking pharmacy in the area or in those 4 different countries and being like, have you given out any prescriptions for eczema?
To a woman that smelled a little like garlic with long hair.
She might not have smelled like garlic that day.
Jesus. So detectives did, however, find a shopping bag inside of that suitcase. And that shopping bag led them to a shop where she bought these rubber boots. So she had visited Norway. I know, because the shopping bag's like labeled whatever, so-and-so's boot store. Where am I? She had visited Norway several times during the year, staying at different hotels under fake names and using forged passports. A 2017 BBC investigation found at one hotel she claimed to be Claudia Tielt from Brussels. At another, she was Elizabeth Lienhauer, whatever, from Ostend. And then ultimately, people who interacted with her were finally located and then interviewed. So they all described her as a striking, stylish woman with dark hair, brown eyes, who was elegant and charming and always paid in cash. She spoke multiple languages, including French, Flemish, and English, wore wigs, and often seemed to be on edge.
She also smells like garlic.
She's me.
Brittany goes, so she has eczema and she smells Indian. She's me? And she wears rubber boots?
She does. She's you, Brittany. Okay, so years later, the Norwegian National Defense released records that indicated that she may have been just traversing the country observing the testing sites of then top secret anti-ship. It's a penguin missile. And it cracks me up because they're going through and they're like, yeah, there was this guy. He was a fisherman and he saw a woman standing at this thing observing the penguin missile test. And he went up and talked to her or whatever. And then like later he told his son about it. And then him and his son were on a trip and they got approached by some cops who handed the man a gun and a knife to protect himself. And he never really talked to his son about that. That man is now dead. The son's like, he really kept to himself. I don't know. And I don't think cops just hand out weapons to people to protect themselves. And they're like, I don't know. It was the 70s and the Secret Service kind of did their own shit. And it's Norway.
Yeah.
They do whatever they want.
I don't know, man. The Secret Service, they just do shit.
Mm-hmm. They do. They just do shit.
They just do shit.
Yeah, so that fisherman may have also spotted her watching the Norwegian army troop movements. and maybe taking some notes. Also in her suitcase was a sheet that had some coded stuff on it. And so it looked kind of like codes. And they figured out it was actually like the initials of the city or town she stayed in and the dates she was there. So she could keep track of where she had traveled. And that's how they were able to track it to, okay, she was at this hotel in this town. And like they went to that hotel. You could see her handwriting is the same on all the registries. And this is what trips me up. So these hotels at the time, you didn't just like go in and it's your name, your credit card number, you stay in the thing. You're signing in this book saying your first and last name, your home of origin, your purpose for visiting. Are you single or married? They ask like all this personal shit. And she's filling it all out with her fake names and everything, but her handwriting is the same. So they're able to say, oh, Elizabeth from this hotel is Claudia from this hotel. It's the exact same handwriting.
Rookie mistake. Use different handwriting.
Also, pick one identity. I don't know. Here's me. Pick
left-handed, right-handed. Change up your like actual like pen holding styles. Come on, guys.
Just walk up and say, I have the rheumatoid arthritis. Can you fill it out for me? Right. That's what I would do.
I have the rheumatoid arthritis.
I have the rheumatoid arthritis. My mom does. She's getting her fingers are starting to do this shit permanently. And it's like, oh, good. That's my future. I'm excited. Thanks. Your whole hand's going to be a series of this.
Oh.
I know. We had an old neighbor. Her name was Cookie. She lived across the street and her hands were so rheumatoid. Like one of them was like this and she couldn't really use it for anything. I know. And I was like, I'm going to be like Cookie. Oh, no. We'll see. They can fix it. By the time I get that old, they'll just chop off my hand and give me a new one.
Yeah, and it won't even matter.
No, I'll be Iron Man. It's fine. So, does the spy narrative make sense? Norway, in the early 70s, was a flashpoint during the Cold War. And it did share a border with the Soviet Union. But it also played a substantial role in helping the United States and Britain monitor Russian nuclear testing and submarine warfare. So it was known that Russian intelligence assets were active in the country, and as were elements from the CIA, M16, and Mossad. And then in 1973, Mossad agents assassinated a Moroccan waiter in Lillehammer, who they mistakenly thought to be one of the masterminds of the Munich Olympic massacre.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate.
That is really just an unfortunate circumstance that happened there, you guys.
You're just a waiter, like minding your own goddamn business. Look, Brittany, yeah, my aunt and dad are getting like that. The rheumatoid. I think I sent you one more photo, and it's the Isdal woman's fingerprints.
Actually,
maybe
sent me a picture of her.
Oh, did I? Good. Pop that up at some point.
I will. I'll pop it up after the.
Thanks. So, flash forward in 2005, a man from Bergen. This is where the body was found, where me and Marcy visited Bergen. Came forward after seeing this sketch.
Oh, sketch. These are the fingers.
Oh, thank you. But these are her fingerprints. They were inside of her suitcase on the thing, and then they were on her actual body, which was charred.
On her glasses, too?
Yeah.
You just put your fingers all over your glasses like that.
She's like, I just
take them off.
These off.
Like, all right.
Can you imagine?
Oh, God.
Every once in a while, Trevor thinks it's real funny to reach forward and just all my glasses just and I'm like, can you not?
Smudgy. Okay.
So in 2005, a man from Bergen came forward after seeing a sketch of the Isdal woman. 5 days before the woman's body was found in 1970, he reported seeing a person matching her description hiking on a hillside about an hour away from Isdal. She was underdressed for the weather and was being followed by two men who he said, quote, looked Southern. He reported what he saw to the police, who dismissed the statement.
So define look Southern to me, like cowboy boots, like yeehaw, like Southern, or like.
That's what I think, but I don't know. I didn't look further into it because that's me. I was like, he means cowboy. Probably Southern Norwegian.
Yeehaw. He's like wearing a cowboy hat.
Can you imagine?
Oh my
Can you
god.
imagine? Oh, meanwhile, he just looks like Southern Norwegian, which is like fitted black pants, a fitted
I
t-shirt.
guess.
They're
I
all
don't know.
6,000 feet tall and blonde.
Yeah, like what? That's a very specific thing to say.
Let me tell y'all real quick. While we were in Norway, every clothing shop we went into, all the clothes fit Marcy perfectly because she is tall and she's, fit and thin, all the things. Every single item, including long sleeve shit, was about 7 inches too long for me because I'm short. And the Norwegian people are a tall people.
Yep, they are.
They're Marcy's people. They're not my people. I fit in with the short Chileans.
I don't know.
I fit in all the clothes of Chile.
It's gonna sound weird, but like looking at this sketch of her, like her features are not very Norwegian.
No, she's like German. Yeah. She's Nuremberg.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So before the Isdal woman was buried, a portion of her lower jaw that we saw was removed and saved. This is great because we're going to get into it, but the podcast I was listening to about it, you follow them as they're going through police archives and they're like, can we see the copies of these, like interviews and transcripts? And they're like, yeah, here you go. Is there any evidence? Yeah, we got that. Did you want to see the jaw? Oh, yeah, the jaw. Yeah, let's see the jaw. And they just have all this stuff still on hand from the 70s. And I'm like, do you know how hard it is to get like even the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to keep files for 5 years?
I was going to say, meanwhile, in America,
we can't
I
do
lost
shit.
that.
All of a sudden, all
whole
the files
boxes of evidence go missing.
Yeah. What do you mean? This woman's jaw is like in a box next to some like Nordic prince, whatever, his skull. They've got it in storage.
Right? Jesus.
Yeah, Marcy. Marcy says, I really should have bought more clothing there. You should have. You got a very nice sweater. So it was a very expensive sweater.
Oof.
It's Norwegian. It's very nice. So her lower jaw, the portion of her lower jaw was removed and saved. Oh, also they buried her body. We may get into this, but they buried her body in a special coffin that has some kind of chemical in the coffin so that the coffin will not degrade. It won't decompose. So that way, if her family ever came forward, they can unbury her and take her wherever.
Well, shit.
I thought that was neat. I don't remember what it was. They talked about in the podcast, but it's not my article. So,
I mean, if she was a spy, she doesn't have any family.
I know. Okay. So, her jaw. In 2017, this jaw is from the 70s. A stable isotope analysis was performed on her teeth, and it suggested that she was born in Nuremberg around 1930, but grew up near the border between France and Germany. And the investigation of her dental work showed that it had been performed in either Central Asia, East Asia, Southern Europe, or somewhere in South America. And they can go through based on how much gold, the style of how things were organized, and then doing dental tests like you would on fossils and stuff to figure out how old all that stuff is. Fascinated. So this case still sparks great interest. And in 2018, a podcast called Death in Ice Valley from BBC World Services and the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation was launched that explored the Isdal woman's death in minute detail, and it sure does. It's also one of the most relaxing podcasts you'll ever listen to because you've got this woman who's Norwegian speaking with her accent and this other man who's British speaking with his, and they're very, oh, should we look into that? I think we should. And then we boarded a train and went to such and such to talk to this spy expert who identified many spies during World War II. And I'm like, oh, cool. Let's go. It's very relaxing. So while the stable isotope analysis did answer some questions, the woman's age and country that she was born in, there are still a ton of other questions. Was she a spy? And if so, who killed her and why? Who was she working for? And perhaps most importantly, why haven't any of her friends or family members or loved ones ever come forward? Because she's a spy. She don't have any. And the last episode I left off on, I'm thinking it was episode 7 or something. Each one's only half an hour at the point I'm at. I know later on they get into being hours long, but I'm listening when they first started in 2017. So they're we're hoping to solve this crime through podcasting. And I'm like, that's so cute. And then people, of course, are giving feedback and they're like, were your parents alive in the 70s in this area? Did they see this woman? Did your cousin maybe go missing at one point from Germany? Was this maybe somebody's daughter? Like someone maybe knows something, right? And they're talking to one of the ladies that worked in the hotel. And right now she's describing how when this woman stayed in the hotel, she would take, it was like an armchair that was inside and move it outside of the room and set it in front of the door. And that meant that she was not in the room and the maid service could come in. But if the chair was inside the room, that she was inside the room, don't come in. And then she took some kind of a coffee table from inside the room, flipped it upside down and put it in the little entry hallway to the room. For why, we don't know. And then she was seen in the hotel restaurant with a man for a dinner, but they didn't speak to each other the whole time. And it seemed like maybe some kind of business meeting and like messages were being passed through newspapers, maybe. And the waitress was like, I told the cops this. And they go, well, it's not in the police files. We have the police files. And she goes, no, I told them this.
That's some real spy shit.
Uh-huh. So it seems like all the people that saw her with guys, so like the guy that saw her hiking with two dudes, that never got put in the police records. This waitress that saw her with this guy never got put in the police records. Just weird shit like that got left out. So it's like, are we covering for something?
She a spy.
Seems like you're covering for something. So I wanted to see, I pulled up the second one and I just wanted to scroll down to the bottom and see if there was anything else that I left out, because I'm reading the one really brief article and supplementing what I remember from the podcast. Mm-hmm. We went through that. That's, yeah. So not far from Oslo, a group of young men meet around a dining room table in one of their parents' homes, and in front of them is a box, and inside are some old newspapers and a large file folder with police reports. They were friends already, but now they meet up with a purpose to try and solve the case of the Isdal woman. And they said, we started listening to the podcast and came up with different theories about what happened. We think she was a spy or something like that because she was spotted by some military places in Bergen. And I think she was tired of doing her job and then killed herself. But not everybody in that club agrees. And there's a theory that the way the burn is there, it's like this is burned, but this was not. Mm-hmm. So kind of like she was looking down and maybe some kind of like accelerant got sprayed on the fire and she went, oh shit. So this got burned, but this wouldn't have as she fell back. Mm-hmm. And so she inhaled all this stuff. So it's like, did someone do that to her? And then we were talking about the 50 something pills that she took. There were still pills in her mouth. So it looks like maybe someone forced her to eat all of those pills and then took off all of her jewelry, laid it around her. Because why would you do that yourself? It's just a lot of weird, that kind of shit. And then like they're saying, oh, this is great because we did this. We traveled on the funicular. It's a short railway line up to the mountain in Bergen. And me and Marcy rode the funicular. And you ride it up and then you can hike the trail back down. And there's like a troll trail and there's all these statues of trolls and stuff. It's really cool. It's a 150-year-old thing, the funicular, and it's very popular with tourists. And they're talking about how we passed the white wooden houses, bricks and rocks. And at the top, they're walking in the woods and you can see Bergen below. And that's where they're saying, she's way the hell up here. So you don't just hike to a remote area by yourself, leave your suitcases with no tags on it to kill yourself if you're not some kind of spy.
Right.
So yeah, the last thing was that listeners for this podcast have asked why we haven't compared the DNA profile of the Isdal woman with the biggest commercial databases, which contain millions of DNA profiles. So because they're from the jaw and some other things that they have DNA still. Mm-hmm. So the DNA material in this case belongs to the Norwegian police. And for legal and ethical reasons, they have so far not allowed the material to be run through the commercial databases and that are used by people for like Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
It was an international case and it would never be solved. So it's one of those where I started this part of this episode or whatever. And one of their main things was you do stuff like ancestry.com to figure out if you have any, siblings you're not aware of and shit like that, and find out your family history. But you don't usually want to find out if you have a criminal in your past.
Right.
You don't really want the cops contacting you saying, hey, so your great 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 grandma was found burned alive on a thing. We're thinking maybe if we could dig into your genealogy and get more of your family to submit their stuff, we can figure out who she was. Because that is kind of invasive.
Yeah.
But that's the same time, that's how we caught Joseph D'Angelo, who was the Golden State Killer, because one of his family members had put their DNA in, and they were able to, distant relatives, they were able to track down and get him. And then in another American case known as the Bear Brook murders, the identities of 3 murdered people have been confirmed by the police. And it's Marilise Elizabeth Honeychurch and her 2 daughters, Marie Elizabeth Vaughn and Sarah Lynn McWaters, went missing in the 70s. And then genetic genealogy also helped identify the man most likely to have murdered them, Terry Rasmussen, and he was a serial killer who died in 2010. There's also a 4th victim thought to be a female child that has yet to be identified. So yeah, when you have stuff like this and you have viable DNA, it's like, can't we do this already?
And I mean, you've got to think, if this woman had siblings, or say the woman's born in the 30s, she was born in 1930. So she would be, today she would be 92. There's a good chance that this woman could have had siblings who've had kids, and these people are still alive. I mean, my grandmother was born in my grandmother was born in 29. She's still alive.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that this woman has living relatives.
I know. And then you can start tracing back and being like, well, who does blah, blah, blah? Is it maternal, paternal?
Right.
Okay, so we narrow it down and be like, oh, it's this guy's sister. This guy. Who are you? What was your sister's name? You can track that shit down. Anyway, one of the people from the podcast, my personal theory is that she was hunting for Nazi war criminals. Israel and Norway had very friendly connections, so if the Secret Service knew what she was doing here, they would try to keep that a secret, but it's only a theory. And then a lot of the audience wonders if she could have died somewhere else and then been taken to that location where her body was found, because she was breathing in smoke and there was a fire by her body. So she must have died on the spot where the fire was, but there was not a campfire where her body was. That's the other part. Like I described to you earlier, there's just the body that was burned with all the stuff. There's not a campfire by it.
But there
so
was
where did
a
the
fire.
And everything come from? There's fire damage. But there wasn't a fire by her body. So either her body spontaneously combusted, or she was by a fire somewhere else and she was brought there.
Let me just tell y'all, there's a theory of spontaneous combustion.
That scares the shit out of me.
It's just wild, dog.
I'm terrified that that's going to happen.
I'm just going to be chilling on my couch one day and I'm going to turn on my TV and go up in flames. Yeah. So there's a lot more that goes into spontaneous combustion. Please, you guys, do not worry. There's more to that.
I've worried enough for you.
There's
you don't
more.
have to. I haven't combusted.
There's more science that goes into that. just so you guys are aware. But okay, so say she's taking these pills, right?
Yep.
Phenobarbital.
Are we saying voluntarily? She's taking these?
No, she's being forced to take these pills or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Phenobarbital makes you drowsy. Say it knocks her unconscious. She's not dead yet. And then they bring her to this spot and boom, burn the place up. It's possible that she was still able to inhale if she's still breathing.
She's not dead yet. I know. That's people that are passed out and then they get thrown into a river and inhale so it looks like they drowned, but it's no, they were not with it enough. They technically, yes, they drowned, but
not. Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
I know.
Also, if you're a spy, the last thing you're going to do is take a bunch of phenobarbital and kill yourself.
Right.
That's not very efficient. If I'm a spy and somebody's following me, I'm popping that cyanide capsule in my mouth like that.
Thank you.
Like,
thank you. I was gonna say, there's a thing. They gotta go.
I'm not giving you the satisfaction of killing me.
Mm-mm. And then on the podcast too, a couple of the people that hunt spies professionally, said things like, "Here's the thing: real life spies are not like Alias, the TV show with what's her butt. All these wigs, all that shit. That's not what you do. You create one other person.
Right.
You're not 7 different people, and you make that person look as legitimate as possible." So she was saying she was from Brussels. All of her clothing would have had tags from Brussels.
Mm-hmm.
Her hair would not have been a wig. It would have been her hair dyed whatever color. She would have had one name. It would have been consistent. She would have had an accent from that place. And you create, so who I am, I'm Angela right now. You would create somebody as authentic as this and live your life as that versus having 7 different passports and like every town you're in, you're a different person and blah, blah, blah. That's not how real spies work. Mm. So that's the thing that a lot of the spy catchers are like, I don't think she was a spy. Maybe she was like a lady of the night, or she was like a non-professional spy that was meeting and doing her own personal research or whatever.
Giving tips and things like that.
Yeah. And that was one of the other things. They were like, real spies don't keep, because they were saying there wasn't like a notebook with all of her notes in it or anything like that. It was just the one sheet of paper that had where she had stayed. And they're like, real spies have notebooks so they can remember stuff. And this guy goes, no, real spies get information on a piece of paper, memorize that shit,
and then eat it. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting here going, I didn't know as much about spies as I thought I did.
Yeah. I like to theorize, she was a spy. It's really not, the most logical. It could just be that maybe she was on the run from something.
Yeah, but she had a lot of money for being on the run too. And that's the other thing, was all the hotels she stayed at, expensive as fuck. She spent a lot of money. So who was bankrolling her? Was she an heiress? Would she steal this money?
Possible.
Like, where did that come from? Because all the travel too. I know. So this is one that I was like, this is fascinating. And then the additional podcast, The Death in Ice Valley, from the BBC. Y'all listen to that shit. That's fabulous. And then there is a Facebook group with all of the people that listen to that are sharing notes and evidence and all that stuff. And the people making the podcast as they were doing it. What's that other one? Up and Vanished was the one out of Georgia where they solved that woman's unsolved murder. This is the same kind of shit. So they're like, as we are given the evidence, we're putting it online so you all can help. And I'm like, that's so cute. Thank you for letting us help.
Listen, people love web sleuths, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, someone out there knows something. Here, y'all help. And it's like, okay.
Because at some point, these kinds of things really work on that like 6 degrees of separation type thing where like at some point there is somebody who must know something.
Yeah. Because look, I've got aunts and uncles that travel all the time. What if one of their friends that they met when they were in Croatia or whatever was talking about her aunt who was a spy in the 70s and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I may have some information for you.
Right. Very random shit that happens.
I know. But yeah, that's my great big story. That's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. So then that's it for today, you guys. We had a wild ride today.
That was fun.
Cults, spies. What's next? Who knows?
I know.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll be back on Thursday at 8 o'clock. I'll be covering the news. Yes, me and Ange will be here Thursday at 8 o'clock. I'll be covering the news, and Ange will have another lovely story to share with you all.
We'll find something. I'm excited.
If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you know what to do. You can drop us a comment underneath any of these videos, or just slide right into our DMs, and we will answer any questions that you have. You guys can also send us emails at crushedimpresspodcast@gmail.com. If you guys have any stories that you guys think we should look into, news topics that you guys want us to talk about on our weekly updates, anything like that, pooch them on over there. If you have any listener/viewer stories that you guys want us to share, slide that over there too. Yeah, cool.
We would love that help. Thanks.
Yeah.
Send us some things.
If you've got a great-great-grandma whose murder is unsolved and you want us to tell about it, we'll do it. Maybe we'll even solve it.
Yes, if you have a ghost in your house right now, tell us about it.
Yes,
we want to hear
tell
about
us
it.
about the ghost in your house. Is he friendly?
Hey.
Is he the kind of ghost that just like, is he single? Is he looking for his ghost girlfriend? Our ghosts and your ghosts can meet up.
We found in the afterlife.
Yes. It's Match.com, but for ghosts.
Oh, no.
You don't have to be lonely at ghostsonly.com.
Oh, no. She did it, y'all.
I did it.
She did it. So smart and pretty.
Jesus. Yes. And you guys know, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media, on Facebook and on YouTube, where we go live every Monday and Thursday. You can follow us on Discord, hop in there. That's where we discuss anything about Hunt to Killer. All of our evidence gets posted in there, as well as additional stories, things like that. And you guys can always hop in there. If one of us is on, maybe we'll be able to chit chat with you for a little bit.
Yeah.
On Instagram, where we post all kinds of fun little tidbits. Any of our images that are on Facebook are also posted on there, and just other little stuff going on in our lives. And then on Twitter, where we just post random stories that we hear about, things like that. Sometimes pictures go up there. It's just whatever we want on Twitter, you know?
Hell yeah. We do tweets.
No, I hate it. Ghost only. I am out.
Thanks, Marcy. Oh, and hey, Thursday, I was going to say, are we going to have a new president by Thursday?
Yes.
Yes.
What day is today?
Monday.
Today's the
tomorrow,
18th?
Right? Yeah.
Or the 19th?
Inauguration is tomorrow, right?
Today is the 18th. The inauguration is on Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
20th.
Happy Martin Luther King Day, y'all.
Happy Martin Luther King Day.
And
the
go back and check out.
is on the 20th.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it, season 4, Summer of 69? God, it feels like it was a million years ago. Go back and check that out for a good time to celebrate Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, yeah. and learn.
Go
ahead and learn you something.
Yeah. Discover where we came from, why we're here today, what we're doing right now. Good. Yeah, and then thank you to the Last Electric Rodeo Band for allowing us to use their song Bronze Age of Horror at the end of each one of our episodes. If you want to learn more about them, go to lastelectricrodeo.com or find them on Facebook under Last Electric Rodeo.
New album coming out this year with Ange on it.
God willing.
With Ange on it. Maybe she's got her yellow wig on and her hoop. I don't know.
God, I hope so. That's the dream. It is my character's song. It's great. You
guys know the deal. Be safe out there. Lock your doors. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Don't get murdered and don't do the murdering.
No. But if you do,
the fuck was that?
We want to hear about it first.
Am I a victim?
What?
Thank you.
No, I was just looking at you. All right, you guys. Peace out, Cub Scouts.